Aggro, the focus has always been around the mid laner Stealth and making sure he's big.
Yes.
Do we expect Noble to play around that same strategy, or will they look for their own thing here?
I mean, I feel like they have the capability to do something like that. I mean, Chapo is a pretty adaptable player. He likes to play as aggressive gods, but he can also play the setup role just fine as long as he has that carry on his team to fill that role for him. So Stealth certainly fits that bill.
He fits that bill, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Stealth.
Yeah.
Picks and bans though, Nike, Toth, and Ratatoska. Very similar things to what we saw over in Europe yesterday as well. Sylvanas on top of that. What's available here? Thanatos, I guess.
Thanatos, but we haven't really seen a whole lot of that. Freya, but it is going to be Thanatos. Yeah, yesterday, Europe was not a fan of Thanatos. I was shocked at how little we saw of him. If this was Europe, that probably would have been Hercules.
Talk to me about why you were so shocked, first of all. I guess it's the fact that, is it because the early game is so important right now?
Early game super important. Shield of Regrowth is one of the best items in the game, and he just has insane damage all throughout the game, basically. Just super, super strong. As well as with how prioritized Khepri was, he goes through that Khepri ultimate. Very, very surprised we didn't see more Thanatos
now, over in Europe yesterday, Freya was banned consistently throughout the day, and when she was picked, she was played. When she was available, she was always played too. Astral Authority going to pick up the Freya as well. Noble going to go with Geb here. Surprised they didn't choose Khepri for themselves, considering I don't think we would have seen Astral Authority do that against a Thanatos.
No, like I mentioned, you don't really want to pick Khepri into the Thanatos because he will go through that revive. But Geb and Zeus, this is a very, very strong early game composition early on for Noble. Geb, not great in the early game, but Zeus is, Thanatos is, and then you got that protection for those characters that are going to be focused down. Thanatos, he's going to come crashing down, probably going to need a Geb shield to keep alive. And then Zeus, obviously, always going to be a priority target for the enemy team.
Now, Sun Wukong locked in here for Astral Authority. He has a couple of roles he can really go to. We could see him go into the support role with War Flag and with the wave clear advantages that a Sun Wukong has here, even with Bluestone, potentially.
Could be. That'd be pretty ambitious, though, from Astral Authority to bring that out.
That's true.
This early on. I expect that's going to go to Mango in the solo lane.
We'll see if Mango does end up picking that one. Odin banned away alongside Apollo. Apollo got that deep without being picked overall. Very interesting to see that one, especially when Geb was prioritized there as well instead of the potentially Apollo.
Yeah, that is pretty surprising. And I love this Odin ban from Astral Authority. This tells me that they've done their homework. Uzi coming from the console scene, very, very comfortable on Odin. And it would have been excellent pairing with the Zeus and shutting down that Ra and Freya. Good ban there from Astral Authority.
And Wheelix now picked up for Astral Authority. Their front line isn't the strongest in terms of how much damage they can take. Obviously, Sun Wukong can jump to his Cloud, but he uses the Cloud more to regen and go again. Whereas Wheelix has to be in and out of the scenario. And a Cupid pick, the final pick for Noble there.
Interesting, Cupid. So the entire duo lane meta, from what we've understood so far, is that push. And Cupid is all the way down here as far as Geb goes.
Pretty close alongside him.
Yeah, the dual lane push right now for Noble is poor, to say the least. And I think you're right, Hindu. Sun Wukong, that looks like it's going to be in the support role. Bellona locked in. That's probably going to be the one going to Mango.
Yeah, definitely. Cupid and Geb, though, in that dual lane, they're going to have to give a lot up in the early game unless they do some interesting strategies at the start. Maybe do their buffs first, maybe invade the jungle first. We'll see as this one plays out.
Yeah, and they've got to deal with a lot of push in the duo lane there between the Sun Wukong and Freya. Freya not great in the early game, but probably not as bad as Cupid as far as wave clear goes. And then Sun Wukong, anytime you're picking a warrior in the support role, you're picking it for the early clear and pressure it brings.
Now, we mentioned Noble, obviously Astral Authority as well. This is a Challenger Cup team that has been around for a long time. Not necessarily as a whole team, but these players have been around the scene for a very long time, Aggro, established at one of the higher levels of play, especially in ranked. You'll see these on all the big name streamers' streams every single day.
Yeah, all these guys have been there, done that as far as the Challenger Cup goes, and they're always near the top, like you mentioned, but they just have so much trouble up against these top-tier teams. We saw them in the open bracket, just run through every team and then run into a team like In Memory of Gabe and just look like a bunch of players who didn't know how to handle that sort of pressure.
I'm just looking at builds at the start, see if there's anything crazy or interesting, really. Nothing out of the ordinary, so to speak. We do see that MLC Stealth's gone for a very aggressive build, I want to say, because he's not got much sustain in terms of consumables here. Just that one health potion to keep him topped up. And when we take into account that Mana is definitely an issue for the mages in the mid lane at the start of the game, he's going to have to be very careful with his decisions.
Yeah, but Zeus, one of the better gods as far as mana consumption goes. You really only need one skill to clear the wave, and then your auto attacks after that, so you're not too worried about it. Plus, if Wubbin is going to be there in the middle lane holding his hand, helping him clear, he's not too worried about that. The thing that I'm looking at is that Chapo has gone for the Boots 2-star. We didn't see any of this yesterday in the jungle, but this just gets you to your completed warrior tab eye so much quicker than going for, say, a Bluestone Pendant like Final K has.
Now, this is a classic start that we've seen out of Astral Authority, knowing that the support was in mid lane here. They go into the jungle, they kill the little creeps first of all on each camp. That hits them level 2 anyway. But realizing they're not worried about a rotation from anybody here, they do also secure the red buff, steal that one away from Noble. And that's kind of what a Noble would have expected with the composition they've drafted here.
Oh, absolutely. They expected to give that up. On Final K coming around the backside, they're looking at stealth or Wubbin. There's the shield just to keep him okay for now, but that's still going to be a lot of poke on MLC Stealth. He uses that only health potion, and he is pretty low on mana already.
And now he's going to be very careful in this lane, just look to far, but Wubbin with the meditation there will tap him back up. The meditation comes into play early on. And one thing we've not really mentioned is the decision to start from the 2 supports here. Obviously, both the junglers start on the right-hand side of the map, but Wubbin started in mid. Meanwhile, we did see Left Syndrome stay in lane there on the left-hand side.
Yeah, and that's what gave them that pressure to invade the buffs on the left. And then Left Syndrome immediately comes middle to help secure the left mid Harpies. I like this start so far from Astral Authority, giving Famous Hate a little bit of pressure in that lane, getting him that red buff, taking it away from Noble, and then going to help out in the 2v1 scenario in the middle lane.
Right-hand side, El Chapo looking for his first gank here onto Mango, who's still level 4 at the moment. Death Scythe would have connected there. It could have spelt doom for Mango, but he'll stand tall for now. Same health bar as Uzi.
And in fact, Mango's got a ton of sustain in this lane. He went for the health chalice and then health potions on top of that, really making sure he's not going to run out of those health potions. Uzi has also gone for the health chalice, but not electing to go for the additional health pots on top.
The only problem with that is we always saw multi-potions, not just for the extra health, but the mana regeneration from the multi-potions really came into play when the blue buff wears off if you spam your abilities a bit too much.
Well, Mango on this Bologna, he's not going to be too worried about his mana consumption because Bologna has these cleave auto attacks with Death Toll. You can see how high on mana he is already, but you're not getting the same amount of health regeneration that you were with the blue stone, or with the multi-potions rather.
Well, the elementals go down there, bit of a contest between the two, but everyone's still level 4 in the mid jungle and support positions. Only there's both side lanes are level 5 now. And NA versus EU, obviously when you look at what EU did yesterday, it's going to be interesting to see if differences develop in the metas, which they generally do as time goes on.
Exactly, there's always some sort of difference, and really Europe yesterday, we're used to them playing a little bit more passive, a little bit more reserved, but that is the opposite of what we saw. A lot of fighting early on. In fact, if you would have showed me these two, like this game and then one of the European games yesterday without the names, I would have really expected that those brawls were happening in North America, and this sort of calculated farm game was being played by Europe.
Left-hand side, Chapo's looking for a bit of pressure here onto Famous Hate. The ult forced early on from Famous Hate in response to Wowies, and now Chapo's in a position to put some damage down. Good banish though from Famous Hate. Gonna make sure that the Scythe doesn't hit either and be able to walk away. Chapo's looking to pressure solo, look to pressure duo. Not found what he was looking for though.
But he's getting that pressure. He's not getting the kills necessarily, but that forces out that Valkyrie's discretion, and that's gonna be a big cooldown because you could see Famous Hate. That's the whole idea is to kill this Freya in lane with the Cupid. The lane push isn't great, but it's about getting those kills and making the rotations happen with the big AoE ultimate. And so you really want to get him ahead in that lane, and that's exactly why you see Chapo spend some time over there early on in this game, 3-4 minutes, just to get Wowie a little bit of a lead.
Well, left-hand Harpy's going to go the way of Astral Authority as Noble secure their own red buff here as well. I do like the fact we see 2 Aegis on the side of Astral Authority and Freya and Ra as well. This is more than likely, there's not massive amounts of CC on the side of Noble, but there is a lot of setup and damage that will come off that CC.
That is true, but a tenured Zeus player like MLC Stealth is going to wait out those Aegises very, very often.
But is it more for Chapo's dunk more than anything with the hovering death?
Could be, but that's a lot of stuff you have to Aegis, and you only get one. You only get one opportunity. And even if you do Aegis that execute, the stun happens, then if he has his Death Scythe available, usually if you're in execute range, you're within kill range of that Death Scythe as well.
Well, a more passive game than anything else between the two, just position and fighting over objectives. Once again, it's North America. Uzi, one of the newer players to the PC side of things, was on console, now with his brethren El Chapo here, looking again for the kill. If the Scythe would have hit there, this would have been death for Mango. And you actually saw him preemptively ult, looking for the cleanup of that kill. Unfortunately, not going to find it this time.
Chapo's just not opening up with the Death Scythe. We're seeing him use that silence every time and then trying to hold it, but you're just giving the enemy player more time to try and juke you out. I would really prefer to see him lead with those Death Scythes more often than not.
Yeah, I can see how it will develop for Chapo as the game goes on, but he's still all square for the most part. No real gold lead to really talk about between the two teams. Experience-wise, there's little advantages for Astral here and there. As you can see, the Fine OK has done a little bit more farming than El Chapo, but Chapo's been the one ganking.
Exactly, getting his pressure, he's making his pressure felt across the map, whereas Fine OK, I don't think we've seen him fight anyone at all. The only time we've seen him do any damage is on those right-hand harpies, or the right fire elementals. So there's a difference in style there. Both of these characters, early game gods, they both want to fight you in the early game, but I think that the Thanatos transitions a little bit better towards the later stages of the game with that 40% execute threshold.
Fine, okay, now on this right-hand side, looking towards Uzi. Good bludgeon coming out there from Mango, though, just looking to poke him down a little bit more. Fine, okay, recognizing Uzi knows what's up. Clearly Ward on the right-hand side, as you can see on the mini-map there. So Uzi's just playing it very safe and just allowing Fine, okay, to hang around and waste his time.
Yeah, everyone's talking about Chapo's transition to the PC, and with good reason. I mean, probably the biggest console streamer, and then you've got just his sort of aura about him, but Uzi has been around the PC Challenger Cup scene for quite some time, then moves over to console, has good success there. He's got a lot of potential in this lane, and I think that people really sleep on him.
Just keeping an eye on the duo lane as well as Freya on Famous Hate, but Warwi on the Cupid. Taking part again in this one so far. Transcendence online for the Cupid. He's a little bit behind in experience, which I'm surprised at considering there was so much shared between Left Syndrome and him at the start of the game.
But Chapo did come over and share a wave himself, so that's where you probably see that XP difference start to materialize. But again, it's just about giving Wowie some kill potential in this lane. I was very surprised that we didn't see him use, it looks like he may have used Fields of Love to force out that Valkyrie's discretion. So Chapo, he's got a little bit of a window still. Well, hold that thought, there's the window.
He had his ultimate available, just couldn't get up thanks to the knock-up coming out from Wubben there as well. Although I think those, no, they were stolen over the wall there. You can just see the burning corpses as what happens when Raw manages to pick up the kill.
Yeah, Sheikah able to steal those away, but First Blood going the way of Chapo on this Thanatos, and that's exactly what you want for a momentum-based guy like Chapo, is getting him that early
and
first
the
blood.
Thanatos as well, to be fair. But it's not as early as you'd like on a Thanatos at 7.5 minutes in. Generally, you're looking for the 4-5 minute pickup if you can get it. Chapo's only been working for it, but he finally got it anyway.
That's all right, and it's all about the CC chain from Wubben. He's the one who sets all of that up. The Cataclysm, the knock-up, Lightning Storm on top as well, just to make sure they have enough burst. But that's the danger of going for these Aegises. Yeah, you see Left Syndrome has the meditation, but that should be a warning to Famous Hate and Sheikah that the CC chain that you're going to get hit with, if you get hit with Cataclysm and the knock-up, I don't know if you're going to be able to have time to get that Aegis off.
Just because of the burst damage from the Thanatos and Zeus more than anything else there as well. Left Syndrome at the moment, though, did start with the Watcher's Gift. It's the first time we've seen Sun Wukong so far in the support role this split. But I do like the fact he went into War Flag as well after the Watcher's Gift, just to give him some extra mobility, sustain for his team as well. And they were contested pretty heavily over those Oracles right now. But when Chapo shows his face, Astral Authority call it a day.
Yeah, so usually whenever you get a second starter item right after your boots, it's that Mark of the Vanguard. But I also like this pickup for Left Syndrome, just giving a little bit of extra sustain, a little bit of extra movement speed, and a little bit of extra power as well. War Flag has some power on it to help him get with that poke sort of game that warrior supports love to play.
Exactly. Normally on a support, you'd see the Vanguard, as you said, for the protections as well. The actual damage reduction from minions as well comes into play, and dot damage on top of that. Mango's in a bit of an awkward position here with El Chapo coming in. Eagles rally, Death Scythe again from Chapo. Doesn't hit home, but maybe the hovering death will.
No, that's not going to find the mark either. Mango, he's got to juke out a bunch of autos. The disarm's good to buy him some time. Actually forces out the purification beads there from Chapo, but because of the tanking by Uzi, that allows Chapo to stay under that tower for a long time. Misses a couple skills, but gets the kill anyways.
Chapo looks a little bit pent up here overall, but that Death Scythe to the back of Left Syndrome's head, I don't think he's going to hang around long, so he uses the Oxform. But yeah, we've seen a couple of Death Scythes now. He's a little bit off the mark with his abilities. He can hit these. I think it's just more he's mind gaming himself a little bit too much.
Yeah, like I said, you know, I play with Chapo for a very, very long time, and he can get in his own head in sorts of situations like this. But there's no one I would rather have on my team when they're feeling it, when they're feeling on top of their game. He can just absolutely get on a roll, and it's not. He used to be in this sort of mind frame where if he got off to a bad start, the whole game was just off. But all it takes is one or two good plays from him, and he can get right back on his game now. He's definitely matured in that sense.
And the best news is,
Noble's still in a good spot.
He's made mistakes so far this game, but he still picked up the kills, which is important overall. If he doesn't pick up these kills, that's when you're probably like, oh gosh, this could be an awkward game for a Thanatos who doesn't do well in the early game.
Right, and he's just got to trust himself a little bit more. That's the big thing that he has to do.
Well, same sort of position that we saw Left Syndrome die for the first blood here at these left-hand Harpies. The snipe hit Chapo there, but it was a little bit premature from Sheikah. Could have potentially stole away one of the camps there, but unfortunately enough, he didn't do so, and Chapo's already healed back to full thanks to Bombers and a Death Scythe.
Exactly, just so much sustain that ultimate really not important whatsoever from Sheikah, and he's been very quiet, as has all of Astral Authority. They've been playing very far back That being said, they have the gold lead. It's very, very small, but it's there, like 50 gold, I'm talking, but they're still in a good spot in this game.
Well, at the moment, you can see the build coming out from MLC Stealth as well. It looks like he could be going towards Warlock Sash here. I mean, I think it's only Gem of Isolation or Warlock Sash he could choose out of the build so far that he's ended up going for after the Shoes of Focus. So it's cooldown focused overall, 20% so far in this build. In cooldown reduction on a Zeus isn't all doom and gloom.
No, it's pretty good. You could just get as many detonates off as possible instead of having to hold for the right detonate every single team fight. And I do believe it's actually going to be Ethereal Staff for
Final
for
K was ganking him. Final K's in a bit of trouble here. Chapper was thinking about diving. Instead, turns back towards Mango. Got disarmed for a second, though. Another scythe just wisps past the head of Mango there. And so both teams will fall back. Now, the Shaker has turned up from the mid lane.
But look at the amount of pressure that Uzi's had in this lane. Just getting that tower down. It's almost gone already at the 11.5-minute mark. Mango, he's going in, trying to find the stun onto Chapo. That death sight's going to hit. Snipe off the mark from Shaker. Mango getting pretty low, almost with an execute range. There it is!
However, round the back comes Left Syndrome now, trying to turn this around a little bit. Uzi regenerating in the big baby form for the time being. Final K back from base, though, on Suku, looking to turn this one around.
Good turnaround there from Uzi, even though the Moonlight Charge wasn't in range, still wary of the threat that it poses, and these two longtime teammates taking the 2v3 basically and winning that engagement.
And meanwhile on the left-hand side, this has created an opportunity for Noble with all the rotations from Astral Authority to solo lane. They're pressuring the duo lane here. Stealth in the mid lane has also forced the situation there too, and now Famous 8 forced to Valkyrie's discretion after the Heart Bomb and Fields of Love combination.
This is exactly what WoW's just been trying to do all game, is just trade ultimate for ultimate every single time and just expose Famous 8 to be a little bit more susceptible to the ganks. We've only seen Chapo over here once and it didn't result in a kill, but this is still the game plan, even in the mid game, that you can just force out that Valkyrie's discretion as often as possible.
My apologies as well. I thought we were going to see a Warlock Sash coming out from Stealth here, but it's going to be the Ethereal Staff so far. This split, 20% crowd control reduction on it, 200 health, 90 magical power, and obviously 5% of the maximum health, but it can only affect every so often.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of an internal cooldown now, and so it's kind of like a mini Soul Reaver almost with some additional health,
yeah,
like you mentioned. So I love this pickup for Zeus. I think I would have rather seen it a little bit later on because max HP is more effective the more HP they have. So you want to wait until they've built into some health or something along those lines. Just the base health alone is usually enough to make that item worth it, but it's not too expensive. It's towards the higher end, but with MLC Stealth rushing it, it's not that big of a deal. And he has that extra health and CDR to really make use of those poke down skills.
Now as it stands now, the gold is still pretty even between the two teams. You can see that at the top of the screen. Good cataclysm in mid on Syndrome there though. Syndrome's in a lot of trouble, forced to jump and use his ultimate very early on to regen, luckily enough just in time. And Stealth still pressuring there onto Shaker, onto Final K. It looks like Chapo really wanted to go deep there for a moment, but Astral Authority saw it coming, recognized it, back away.
Yeah, Death Scythe again, just a little bit off the mark there for Chapo, and Left Syndrome probably would have died just from that amount of damage alone. You can see Chapo has that Heart Seeker as well. So potent on gods like Thanatos that are getting those cleave auto attacks to stack up that Heart Seeker passive very, very easily, and then applying 100% of their physical power on their next ability hit. Just tons of extra burst damage on that Death Scythe.
Shout out to Woobin though with that quick hot play of the Cataclysm at the start of that as well. Left Syndrome was clearly in an awkward spot, felt he was safe using the Ox form, and Woobin's like, no, 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 no. You shall not pass.
Woobin has looked very, very strong so far this game. Setting up the early first blood onto Left Syndrome, being at the right spot. The shields have been not super necessary just because of how passive Astral Authority has played this game, but overall, I've been very impressed with Woobin's play.
And obviously with the support starting the mid lane as well, it's a little bit safer for a support in a more than likely 2v1 in a shorter lane as well. The mid lane is ever so slightly shorter than duo lane. The gank potential of you getting picked in the wave is a little bit different compared to when you start with a Hunter.
Absolutely. It's a win-win scenario there. Two of your more vulnerable early game characters just go together and make sure that neither of them are vulnerable. On this right side, Uzi is so far ahead of Mango right now, and it's because of all the pressure Chapo's put on this right-hand side.
One goes down, two goes down. It looks like an even split between the two there overall, as I don't see a ward on that. Obviously, there's a ward down on the ground right there at the same time. Red buff going to go the way of Astral Authority. And as I was going to say, like, the gold difference is even though there's a 3-kill lead for Noble, which shows how good Astral Authority are doing in terms of continuing to stay even with the gold.
Yeah, I mean, their committal to just being the farming, to the farm game has been very, very strong because they've been out farming Noble. There's no doubt about it. Like you mentioned, 3 kills going the way of the blue squad, and they're still there. Double blink Cataclysm. There's the beads forced by Sheikah. Chapo coming around the backside, gets knocked up immediately there by Left Syndrome. Chapo actually going to take the majority of the damage. The snipe off the mark from Sheikah, but Zeus, there's the ultimate.
Overcommitted a little bit there, but Stealth's not got enough damage to clean up that overall. It was a good disengage, though, with the pressure towards Chapo as well. The snipe, as you said, from Sheikah. Just nice little juke out from Chapo, but with that play, they're trying to force the Gold Fury.
And no snipe available for Sheikah to try and steal this away. He's got to rely on that Celestial Beam. Left Syndrome around the backside. I don't know if they know he's here. The beam, the Gold Fury, it goes down. Who did that even get? Noble, I think, grabs that one.
Yeah, Noble do grab that Gold Fury, and now to the left-hand side, they look for Chapo again. Knocked in the air. The beads were a little bit late. The shield is better, though, from Woman to allow Chapo to escape for now. Obviously, the clone goes down from Left Syndrome there, so that's fine. But in the mid lane, Uzi and Famous Hate now dueling off, and Uzi might not like this because he's not got much in the way of magical protection. I lied, he's got Pestilence, but he's still chunked.
Famous Hate just doing so much damage. He's the same level as the solo laner, but the jukes from Uzi are enough to buy him some time and get out of there. Gold Fury does indeed go the way of Noble. It gets the gold lead in their favor for about 1,500 gold, and that's just a great engagement in the middle lane, coming back to haunt Astral Authority. Sheikah wastes his ultimate there on an ult that probably is never going to hit home, and then they lose the Gold Fury because they don't have the ability to contest.
Well, Noble now trying to turn this one back around after losing that Gold Fury. So after getting the Gold Fury as well, trying to continue to push to the Sasari and look for the Portal Demon as well for the extra gold and experience, and a free portal back to mid lane.
And this is going to be able to, Uzi doesn't have his teleport right now, but it doesn't matter because of this Portal Demon. That's one of the things that I think we haven't really seen exploited quite so much early on in Season 4, is that solo laners get to save their teleport, which is a very, very long cooldown, and get that golden experience from that Portal Demon. So Uzi can get this blue buff. He's pretty low right now, back, and not really worried about it because he's got that option to come back to lane.
And it's one of those things you could do as a solo lane, is not take teleport, I guess, and rely on the Portal Demon and the rituals as well to try and get around the map if you need to. But if you don't get that Portal Demon, it's very risky.
I do think that there is an option to forego teleport in lane and really rely on Swift Wing to get you back to lane quickly and let you rotate around the map, but it's just about being able to push down, you know, group up with your team, get an objective. You know, their solo laner's pushing our tower. Oh, Left Syndrome.
He's in a lot of trouble here.
Very low.
Running for his life now. Uzi giving chase. Chapo, Speedy Gonzalez coming through there with the amount of movement speed he can get from a Thanatos when someone's in kill range. They do pick up the kill. The blue buff goes the way of Noble, and they're still looking for more.
Stealth gonna get a lot of damage there thanks to that Chain Lightning Detonate combination. Mango forced underneath his tower. There's the Eagles rally, stuns out Wubba, and that's exactly what they needed because otherwise there was going to be a Cataclysm waiting for him.
Beautiful play overall, but the Aegis, I think, bought Mango enough time. Actually, I'm not sure how he didn't get executed. I think the Meditation Ally came into play for Mango to keep him up, but Stealth will still pick up fine. Okay, there's a snipe from Sheikah, but it's not going to stop Wowie from picking up his life. And with the whole team of Noble on the right-hand side, they're going to capitalize and get a tier 2 as well.
Wow, both towers fall in favor of Noble Esports, and now what was a very close game for the first 15 minutes or so is all Noble. 5,500 gold in the lead. Middle tower next on the list, and Wubbin again, just making it happen on this Geb, setting up for Chapo. You mentioned the meditation saves Mango's life, but it doesn't matter. They're still able to chase him down. They chase down Sheikah as well. For me, it's really been Wubbin and Uzi, the two that have really stood out so far for me this game.
Yeah, Wubbin's had a fantastic game so far. The Cataclysms have been on point as well. After picking up Blink as well, it's allowed him even more to engage for this team as well. It was one of the issues this team could have with the lack of frontline engagement to an extent, other than Thanatos going in. It had to be Geb as well joining in.
And that's exactly what Wubbin has done so far this game. Astral Authority just has kind of been there. They haven't tried to do anything aggressive at all, really.
They did get that Gold Fury early on, though, when all the pressure was going on, so that was one boon to keep them even, but it wasn't enough overall to really turn anything around. They've always been reactionary, it feels right now.
Exactly, and that's something that I bring up all the time when it comes to these teams that they're up against, teams that they may be a little bit intimidated by. You know, you see MLC Stealth, and you're just like, oh man, this guy's a world champion. How are we gotta beat him? But Astral Authority's done that before. That's what's so confusing to me, because they were in the Eager Saturnalia tournament and beat Jeff and his amazing friends, the Cog Prime Reunite, you know,
they were never really good, though.
Like,
they only won one world championship, so
yeah, they were only one of the greatest teams in SMITE's history. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's not too difficult. Left Syndrome, though, going to knock Wubbin into the sky and take Wubbin on a wild ride, but the Cataclysm comes into play again. Chapo in the sky, hovering, looking at Shaker, connects. Looks for the follow-up damage from the Scythe, connects that too, followed by the Silence. Still chasing down, but a meditation keeps Shaker up for now. Still trying to juke out and buy as much time as possible. Shaker's still alive, but Chapo finally gets the kill. Estelle picks up Mango.
Fields of Love doing so much work there from Wowie. Now the middle tier 2 being looked at. Stealth not looking at that, though. He wants to go in. FidoK blinks behind him. The detonate gets Famous Hate pretty low, but still healthy enough to contest if he wants to, but the call is to back up. Another tower goes the way of Noble, and there's that AoE Cupid ultimate coming into play. You really draft Cupid for that early kill potential and laning phase, and then situations just like that. His team fighting is one of the best as far as hunters go, just because of that gigantic ultimate.
Wubbin is having an absolute monster of a game now on this game as well. We talked about him in the early game and all of his decision making. Even then, it was just sweet, intelligent decisions overall from this Geb, and he's one of the only returning members to this roster alongside Wowie in the duo lane. Now combining with the likes of Chapo and Stealth in the mid, this combination looks pretty synergistic already.
Yeah, Chapo still looks a little rusty like we mentioned earlier, but the rest of the team I think has looked very, very strong, and you trust that Chapo is going to be able to get up there and perform to his standards.
Oh, FidoK was trying to flank around the back, but walks into Stealth, and Stealth makes him pay the price for that little play overall, as obviously the amount of damage Zeus can do at level 18, and the player damage already tells you.
Yeah, he's just doing a ton, and the player damage also tells a story for FidoK. He has 2 more damage than his support. 2.
To be fair, Left Syndrome's pretty low on that skill standing too, considering he does have that Jingu Bang for clicks, but there's a blink Cataclysm again. Ozzy on the back in Big Baby, forcing the back. The focus is on Mango here for the cleanup. Chapo, though, not interested in that. He goes for Shaker again, forcing the banish out of Famous Hate. The rest of the team doing in a tier 2 tower. Chapo can play with his life here, trying to buy time, and here's his reinforcements.
And there's the Fields of Love yet again. Famous Hate is able to put Astral Authority on the board, finally, with that Valkyrie's discretion. Tier 2 tower is still standing. It's going to be very close. Are they going to be able to get this? Yeah, but are they going to be able to disengage? I don't know. Wowie, he's caught. Great Geb shield yet again from Wubbin up into the Somersault Cloud. Left Syndrome, he's trying to chase him down, but they need to be careful of this damage to the corridor from MLC Stealth.
Gets the Jingu Bang, but Stealth put out a lot of work there onto Left Syndrome's clone, but not onto Left Syndrome himself. Still trying to run his Famous Hate on the prayer. Double banish. No. This is trouble.
Ozzy, nice meditation though from Wubbin. Actually was the one who used that, I do think.
Still in trouble.
Oh, there's the ultimate there. Gravity Surge, Lightning Storm right on top. Lift Syndrome pops the shell. FidoK in the middle of 3. Ozzy falls. MLC Stealth trades it out, but Famous Hate, he's able to find the mid laner.
And luckily enough, though, the Gold Fury is down, so Noble are not going to lose that one as well. Astral Authority have to look to the right-hand side here. Fire Giant may not be on the cards right now, but the Portal Demon is available. The Tier 1 tower in mid is also vulnerable.
The only saving grace right now for Astral Authority, they're down right around 10k gold. It's Famous Hate just at level 20, and he is swinging right now. Really the only one doing any sort of damage.
Do you contest
for
this
Astral
Chapo
Authority. Probably not. It's not worth losing your life. Maybe you try and throw out a Death Scythe, get a little bit of poke, and then you back up. I don't think there's any reason to throw away 1v5 there.
Well, he hit the Portal Demon just to give him a bit of a helping hand there, looking for a little bit of a play. Instead, returns to his speed buff overall, and that fight, it went okay for Noble. They got a tier 2 tower, but they lost a bit of position around the Fire Giant now, which was probably where they wanted to turn their attention to next.
Especially with every single tower being down for Astral Authority, there's really nothing else for Noble to take, and that's good news for Astral Authority. They have to either defend their Phoenix or defend the Fire Giant, and with that Fire Demon portal, it's going to be pretty easy for them to defend that fire for now. I wouldn't be surprised to see Noble just kind of slow it down for a little bit, give Astral Authority a little bit of time to get back into it, but just try and make it, just get that Gold Fury directly on respawn, push that lead up to past 10k again, and then look to fight.
And all those 4 kills that you can see on Astral Authority's scoreline there, they all came in that last little skirmish at the tier 2 tower and the chase down into the jungle. For me, it was more Chapo going very deep, the rest of the team focused on the tier 2, and it resulted in a couple more kills. But now Mango's in a bit of an awkward spot here. Reinforcements are swinging through in the jungle, and Chapo, I think, recognizes he could be a little bit too far forward there without the rest of his team near him.
Yeah, Chapo could have gone for the execute on Mango in that last engagement, but trusted that his team was going to be able to pick it up, which they did, and he was just there to zone it out, but you didn't have to go all the way to the Phoenix there, and you're right. I think that was the kind of the door that allowed it to open for
The
Astral
hot
Authority.
baits of the Fire Giant. You can see Warrior's missing it on purpose to try and draw Astral Authority in.
Stealth is just too good. He can't miss, dude. He tried, but he accidentally hit it.
That's just where he goes. Ozzy on his own duty with Wubbin. Wubbin
There it
blink
is.
Cataclysm. Immediately Famous Hate beads is that to get away from the danger zone. Left Syndrome, different story. He's going to take a lot of poke force to bird form away. Final K, meanwhile, was in base at that time as well. And with the Cataclysm blink combination down, Noble fall back to the Fire Giant again.
And that's a big win for Noble because not only do they get the Valkyrie's Discretion out of Famous Hate, but the Purification beads as well. And like I mentioned, he's the only one doing significant amounts of damage right now for Astral Authority.
Ozzy and Chapo going to zone Mango away. Only Wowie doing the Fire Giant now, but he pulls off it as well as the fight unfolds. Famous Hate's relics are both down here. He's going to be very careful on the right because Chapo's here too.
He's coming, he's hunting for him, but the meditation going to buy him a little bit of time.
No.
Famous Hate, 1 HP. Chapo finally able to pick him up. Fields of Love comes down. Mango, he's right in front of Stealth. He's going to pull the trucker horn and detonate him. Left Syndrome, he's up in the cloud, going to go southbound, trying to get out of the field of view from everyone from Noble. They're not worried about that support. They're looking at the Phoenix.
They want the Phoenix, especially knowing that there's only 3 members left standing on the side of Astral Authority here. So 3 Phoenix on the right-hand side. It does allow for that portal to definitely dissipate overall so that you can't see Astral Authority come to contest so easily. And with the health bars, they can easily do the Fire Giant here.
So there again, it all comes back to Wubbin's initiation onto Famous Hate that gets the Purification, gets the Valkyrie's Discretion. The Aegis buys him a little bit of time, sure, but Stealth just waits it out. He pulls the detonate. Chapo's already up in the sky. They're just diving on this Freya. Great target recognition by Noble, understanding who the problem is that they have to deal with.
Syndrome tried to flank around the right here. Fire Giant below 25% health now. Wowie's holding on it though for the time being, waiting for the call from his team to execute. Syndrome has flanked all the way around the back though, looking for the steal. Not going to get there in time though. It's a free one for Noble, and Syndrome will play with his life as well.
Ozzy all the way up front here, just trying to get rid of Sheikah and Final K. He almost handles both of them all by himself. Level 20 on this Vamana. He's got 5 items already.
And now Final K is very, very dangerous situation. Zombie knocks him up and picks up the kill. He was in death sentence range of the execute from Chapo there. Not needed though. Noble turn towards mid. No minions here though, but look at the amount of damage they can do without them.
Chapo just has a ton of damage right now in his build, plus the extra penetration from Scent of Death. MLC Stealth, he's gone for the Divine Ruin, and it looks like he was thinking about getting a Spear of the Magus or potentially a Spear of Desolation, and then just decided, I've got enough for Chronos Pen, and I'm going to grab that extra CDR, capping him out at 40%.
As the opening game though, aggro as well for this Relegations fight, Noble look very strong in terms of what they want to do. They are being aggressive, but they're not connecting everything. Not everything's clean here, and that can be exploited by some of the other teams.
Absolutely. Mechanics definitely the weak point right now for Noble, but mechanics can come and go, you know.
It's game by game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That could totally be, you know, just be an off game, and then they come back and all of a sudden they're hitting everything, and their macro game is so strong already that they can really start to take some wins off some top tier teams.
And whereas Astral Authority here in the opening game, they're just waiting for Noble to do things and trying to react every single time.
Yeah.
Instead of being the ones on the aggressive. And that's kind of just lulled them into this loss, I feel like. Well, it looks like a loss anyway, unless some crazy shenanigans happen at this stage.
Yeah, no, Astral Authority, I would much rather see them be aggressive, miss everything, make terrible calls, and lose the game at 28 minutes by a score line like this than see what we've seen of just...
Wait.
Okay, yeah, you can take that. Yeah, all right, you can steal our blue buff
I guess
again.
we'll try and defend this,
Yeah,
but...
maybe. I'll like throw out a random snipe. Like, it just doesn't, it doesn't bode well for them because it tells me that their confidence level isn't there. It's either their confidence level or their direction isn't there. They don't have someone who's telling them where to be, when to be there, and their word is law, because in a situation like this, you need to have a strong leader telling you exactly where to be at all times, just so that you can have a fighting chance against these teams.
I love the call from Noble here to split the difference and make sure they push all the waves in at the same time here. Obviously, 5 minions in the mid and right, but it's going to cause distraction for Astral Authority trying to defend the final Phoenix and the most important one to make sure the game's pretty much in the bag.
I just checked this out, but Wubbin has had such a strong game on this Gab that he has more player damage than Wowie. And Wowie hasn't had a bad game by any stretch. He's just been playing his job of getting Valkyrie's Discretion on cooldown. Wubbin, he's been the one doing damage with plays like that.
Famous Hate forced to beads again. Final K zone on the right. Eagles rally from Mango, aiming for Stealth. Stealth in a bit of trouble here on the backside, but Chapo's going to go and look for the cleanup on Famous Hate. Secures it overall, not with the execute, however. Well, we will pick up Mango, though, and now Left Syndrome's left. Meanwhile, the Fire Minions are pouring into the base one by one. This is going to be game one, going the way of Noble.
They looked very, very good all game long. Like we mentioned, the mechanics still need a little bit of work, but their teamwork was strong. And for me, Ozzy and Wubbin both looked phenomenal. MLC Stealth also 6-1 and